Hey everybody, welcome back to TomGirl. We are on episode 47 with NFL agent Savannah Foster. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Y'all ready for this?
Are you guys all ready? Okay, we had to reach back to the job jam because I'm so excited to have NFL agent Savannah Foster. Thanks for joining us, Savannah.
Thanks for having me. So excited to be here.
Where can everybody follow you on social media?
So Savvy with one B. SOSAVY.
That's awesome. All right, well, I am so fascinated by you, so I can't wait to dive into all about you and your career and just get going. I want to read actually one quote. Let's see if I have it right here. So, in your bio, you are an NFL agent, and there are 795 total NFL agents. Only 41 are women, and out of that 41, only 21 women agents have a client who's currently on an NFL team, and that is you. And you are part of the 2.6%.
Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing. That has to feel fantastic.
It's pretty unbelievable. I mean, always, growing up, I always wanted to be an NFL agent, and then now that I'm actually here and succeeding at it, is just unbelievable feeling.
Let's talk about that journey. So let's go back to the way back. You was a little kid first. So were you big into sports? Did you have a passion for sports?
I always loved sports, but I never really played too much. I dabbled in softball, but I was always a cheerleader. And then my love for sports really grew whenever I went to college, because I went to the University of Louisville during a very amazing time in our sports career. So we won the Orange Bowl, NCAA College World Series. We went to the Final Four for men and women when I was in school. So it was a really cool opportunity for me to be able to go and see all these experiences firsthand. And my love just grew and grew.
I have to ask because I'm from Omaha. So how was the World Series?
Oh, it was unbelievable. We had the best time. This was at the old Rosenblatt Stadium back in the day. So this was in 07. And it was just unbelievable. I couldn't believe how much history was in it. Yeah. We went to the little museum, and seeing all the really, really cool old archives and things was really neat.
Have you been back since then?
I haven't.
You definitely have to go.
I know. I heard that.
I grew up with. I have an older brother, and my dad used to take my brother all the time to the College World Series, and I was like finally old enough to like complain about it. So they took me finally, and it's like such a big part of growing up in Omaha in the World Series. I know they fought so much to keep it in Omaha, and I just went back to the new stadium probably about 2 years ago. Now I had a friend working at the event, and it was blown away how. So yeah, I definitely recommend sometime if you want a good sports trip to
I
go
guess I should
back.
have understood what a big event it was, but I didn't until I got there. I didn't understand the gravity of it, but it was unbelievable.
Yeah. So you worked for, talk about kind of the jobs that you did in college.
So I worked for the president's office of the university, and so I handled all the trips for the board of trustees and the registrar's office, and so all the big wigs, that we try to impress at the university, all the sponsors and donors and all that sort of thing. I took them on the trips. So I escorted them down on the private jet down to the Orange Bowl in Miami, and it's pretty easy to love sports when you see it in that way.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
So I was
college
spoiled
job
from a very young age, but I loved it. I loved every second of it. I really did.
How did you go about, because last time we like to talk about for other people out here who might want to do similar things to you, how did you go about getting that job in college?
It really all started with sorority, and I know that sounds pretty cliche, but I grew up in a really small town in West Kentucky and moved to Louisville. I didn't really know anybody. So I was like, you know what? I want to join a sorority, get in here, get to meet some of the ladies and see what it's about. And I found out about the job opening at the president's office through one of the girls in the sorority. So the rest was history. Yeah.
And while you were there, you did very well in school. I
did all right.
Let's toot your own horn a little bit. Tell everybody some of your
So
successes
I was a
there.
cum laude and then an honors scholar at the university, which was pretty cool for me because you only have to take so many honors classes if you want to remain in the honors program. But I took every honors class, which again was probably a nerdy thing to do, but it helped me meet so many people and kind of pave that next path for me.
Have you always been a real goal setter and?
Yeah, I have, and I honestly think that's probably one of the reasons why I'm here today, because growing up in Kentucky was fantastic. I loved every second of it, but I knew if I wanted to keep growing in sports, I needed to move away from there. So moved to California, did not know a soul, had never even been to California before, and I don't think that would have been possible if I hadn't set goals for myself ahead of time.
So did you move then right after college?
I did. Yep, moved to San Diego. Again, didn't know a single person. Lived in a little studio apartment by the beach. Loved it. It was fantastic. But I ended up getting a job with the Padres pretty much immediately after I moved here, and it's been just such a blessing to fall right in where I needed to.
Yeah. So talk about what you did with the Padres.
So I was on what was called the Pod Squad, which is essentially like a cheerleading squad, but we had so much fun and getting to interact with all the other So we did basically partnerships for the marketing group, and then we also did player appearances. So if a player's, appearing at a local grocery store, the pod squad would go with them and help out with those appearances and that sort of thing. So I kind of grew in that role and helped out with a lot of the marketing opportunities too.
And then how did you make the transition? Was agent after that, or where'd you go next?
I always wanted to be an agent, and so I really only did the Padres job to try and keep my foot in the door with sports. And I'd finished my first season working for the Padres, and I was, what's my next step? What do I want to do? Because it was an amazing job, but it was only seasonal, and I knew I wanted to grow and keep going in that direction. So right place at the right time. I met a group of NFL agents at the NFLPA rookie event that they have every year for the new rookies who are drafted, and they were getting ready to hire. Right place at the right time. It was very serendipitous.
Yeah. So then did you go to Athletes First? Was that the next step? Or
Yeah. That's when they were the agents that I spoke with were from Athletes First. They were getting ready to hire a receptionist. So I felt a little bit overqualified at that time, but I was like, you know what? This is going to be my opportunity to get my foot in the door, and I can show them who I am, what I'm made of, and we'll see what happens. And I'm celebrating my 10-year anniversary there this year.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
Thank you.
How important do you think that is for people to know that maybe you're not going to get your ultimate stop, right away, and to be willing to take a job that you might feel that you're overqualified for?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's my number one piece of advice to anybody trying to get into any field, really. I mean, take whatever you can get. Then that's your opportunity to show what you're made of and who you are and what you're capable of doing, and then you can continue to grow in that role. Or that's what happened for me anyways. I would hate for people to miss out just because they thought it wasn't exactly what they wanted to do, especially in something like sports, because it's such a small world, and you see the same people over and over and over again. So building your reputation is so important.
How did your career grow over those 10 years then?
Oh my gosh, I did a little bit of everything. And really, I feel like that's why I've been such a successful agent so far, even though I only took my agent exam 2 years ago, is because I do have experience in every aspect of the agency world. So whether it was general assisting or marketing or scheduling or even being a receptionist, I've learned every piece of information to build to this combination of what it is today, It's been pretty special.
So what was the advancement there? When did you did you go from receptionist to the agent, or what kind of steps along the way?
I started off as receptionist, and then I ended up becoming Brian Murphy, which is our president of the office, his assistant. And then working from there, I worked really closely with all of his clients that he represents. And then he realized after 3 or 4 years of doing that my skills could be used better somewhere else other than helping him, because I really interact well with the guys and are able to help them on a different level. So he moved me into client relations, and the rest is history.
Can you share with everybody some of the clients that you're fortunate enough to get to work with?
Oh my gosh. I mean, we have a really great roster, and so I don't want to pinpoint anybody in particular, but right now I do a ton of work for Landon Collins, Deshaun Watson. I do things for them pretty much every day. They're very special people, great players, of course, but better individuals. So I do a lot with them. Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Rodgers. I mean, we have a bunch of guys, and they're all fantastic. I got really, really lucky in that regard, because I don't choose the players. It's whatever the agency brings in, what the agents represent. So I got lucky. And
your agency does a lot to also do good deeds, right? Philanthropic kind of work and fundraising and stuff as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really important core value of our agency. And every year we have a big golf tournament and gala at Monarch Beach Resort in Dana Point. We raise over $1 million each year for the past 13, 14 years. Obviously didn't start off that big, but it's just been a phenomenal way to give back. And it's kind of like a homecoming for our players, They all come from all over the country and have a really good time. And it's grown exponentially.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Describe what maybe your kind of a day in your life.
Well, every day is pretty different, but this time of year is the summer, obviously. So players are finishing their OTAs, starting to travel a ton, getting their last travel in before they begin camp. So we're pretty busy with helping out with all those sorts of things, the facilitation of vacations, rental homes, rental cars, moving the players that got, moved somewhere during the off season, whether they were traded or whatever happened to them in the off season, they ended up moving. We're helping out with all that. So pretty busy time right now, but not nearly as busy as it'll be in the fall.
Yeah. Are you a big fan of the show Ballers?
Oh, yeah. I've actually only seen a couple of episodes, but everything I know about it, I'm like, it's so exactly what it's like to be. I mean, for the most part, obviously, it's a little bit pumped up, but it's kind of like Entourage. I can relate to it on so many different levels that, it's pretty cool that they decided to do that.
Yeah, but that's fun to watch.
Yeah.
What are some of the challenges that you face in your position?
Honestly, I mean, I think for me, the biggest challenge would be the time management because it's 24/7 and players are always needing something literally 24 hours a day around the clock, and you never know what it's going to be until last minute. So it's just been managing that time. That's the hardest part, kind of like the life-work balance, because it can get out of hand, if you let the people do whatever they need to do whenever they need to do it, instead of taking a little breath of time for yourself. That's probably been the biggest challenge for me.
Yeah. Any crazy stories? You don't have to say names.
Oh my gosh. As far as the last minute stuff, you just never know. Yeah, I mean, players call 2 or 3 in the morning. Hey, I need a table at this club, and trying to work a miracle and make it happen. But I mean, I honestly feel like that's why our agency has been so successful because we can usually pull something out
and make it happen.
But then I've ruined it because I'm spoiling them too much, and then they think we can do it all at last minute. So I end up back in the same position.
Being one of the only 2% of women, have you had any challenges you feel like different being that you are a woman in a field of men?
It's definitely different. A lot of times people call the office all the time just because it's sports, just really interested in learning about the industry, learning about different things that are going on in the office. So a lot of times people will call the main phone line at our office and say, can I speak with an agent? I have a question about, whatever it may be. And the receptionist sometimes will put me on the phone and they're like, no, I was trying to find an agent, not an assistant. And that hurts,
Yeah.
It does because I worked so hard to get here and, I took my agent exam like everyone else. So I run into that quite a bit because it's just unique and people aren't expecting, a middle-aged 30-something-year-old woman to be a sports agent. So people aren't expecting it. And that's kind of, a unique obstacle that I face from time to time. But generally, I think it's been really helpful being a woman because I'm able to relate to the players in a different way. So, I mean, players will come to me with unique problems and challenges that they may not necessarily go to a man with because they feel, emasculated or whatever the case may be, or embarrassed. They don't feel that way with me. So it's actually been an advantage, I believe.
Yeah. Then it has to give you a good sense of pride, too, to be like, so that other, young girls or, can look up to you and be like, I can do that, too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I want everybody to understand you can truly do whatever you set your mind to, not to be cliche, but growing up in Western Kentucky, I never imagined that I would be where I'm at today. And, you just make it work. You make it happen. And even when you don't see the end of the ladder, you just keep climbing until you get there.
Were there ever any times in your life, it doesn't have to be with this job either, but what gets you through those times when maybe it's not going so well or you were doubting things or if you thought, can I really do this? Did you have any of those struggles?
Oh, yeah, but I think a lot of it's just been my network. I've just been so lucky. I have an amazing supportive husband and my family and my friends are just fantastic and kind of pump me up and push me over, that hump to get to the next level because I've always been really lucky to be surrounded by good people, even internally at the office, if I ever have issues. It's a pretty small company and we have 26 people total. Okay. So I can walk into the president's office and say, this is kind of going on. Have you ever been in this situation? And while he may not be able to relate to the male-female thing, he's pretty much seen everything since he's been in the industry. So it's been a big crutch for me to be able to use all that advice.
Yeah, that's great. And then I think, with the pictures up right now, you also do now some public speaking about your career as well.
Yeah, I wish I'd started doing it a lot sooner. To be honest, I just was so worried, to have my head down trying to work and grind and get to the next level. I didn't really take a lot of time to do it. But I get questions all the time. I mean, I get 3 or 4 emails a day, young women in the industry trying to figure out how to break in the industry and have, questions like, how did you start? What steps did you take? What would you recommend for me? So I'm like, you know what? I can help everybody out. I want to help people. I really do. So.
Yeah. I was going to ask that last, but can we say some of the things? What advice do you give to people who write into you?
Well, I kind of mentioned it a little bit earlier, but take any opportunity you can find. Don't limit yourself. If you find an opportunity that's similar to what you're looking to do, go for it. I mean, I think that's probably the most important thing, but also networking. I mean, I know it sounds pretty cliche, but again, the sports industry is so small. Yeah. You see the same people every day. So networking, getting your foot in the door, I mean, those are invaluable experiences. So you may meet somebody at Fox, and then eventually they go to ABC, and then eventually they're at NFL Network. You keep those relationships going for years and years.
And tell everybody what your degrees you were in school.
Yeah, so I got my undergrad degrees in communication and political science, which was a little bit random, but they went together at the time with not many extra classes, so I chose that path. And then I had my master's in communication management from USC whenever I came out here.
And how long did it do? I'm going to steal this real quick.
yeah.
Just make sure we touch on everything. How was it a 2 years master's program?
It was, and actually it was the first class that they did it, so I was able to do most of it online, which was super helpful because I was working at the agency at the time while I was a receptionist. So I did most everything online and after hours, and it was a grind. You know, it was really tough, but I'm so glad I did it because I couldn't have taken the agent exam without it.
Yeah.
So you have to have a graduate degree or 7 years of negotiation experience to be able to take the agent exam. So that was my way in.
Okay. Yeah. Any other details with that? Because I would have known that you would have to have that.
Yeah, so they only have one exam each year that's offered in July. So they're getting ready to have the annual new agent seminars, what they call it, in Washington, D.C. And you have to apply. It's an extensive background check and all these sorts of things. They call 20 references, you know, or whatever it is. And then you sit for the agent exam in July with all the other people who are taking it with you. And then you find out late September, typically, if you passed or not.
What kinds of questions are on that exam?
Oh my gosh, it's pretty intricate. So we rely on the collective bargaining agreement book, you know, which is obviously the bylaws for the NFLPA and the NFL, and you just kind of grind through it. And it's a lot of, you know, if a player gets injured in game 4 of the season, you know, is he entitled to this amount of money or this amount of money? Those sorts of things. So
It's so fascinating. So we hear it all, yeah.
yeah, no, it's really interesting. It is. It's really interesting stuff, but it's a little bit intimidating whenever you're looking at it. Certainly,
Yeah.
the exam questions are kind of daunting. For sure.
How long did you study for that exam?
Oh my gosh, probably 2 or 3 months. And then you're able to use the source documents, you know, in your exam, but you don't have time to look everything up because I forget. I think it was 25 questions, maybe. No, it was 60 questions, 3 hours. So I mean, you're just booking it just to get through there as quickly as you can. So if you know exactly off the top of your head where an article is, you can get to it pretty quickly and double check yourself. But otherwise, you gotta be ready.
You don't have time.
Yeah, you don't have time.
What are some other things that have maybe surprised you about this career that you didn't see coming?
Honestly, I feel like I've been a lot more well received than I initially thought I would. You know, talking about from the female's perspective, because it's intimidating. You know, going into a room with all men always. You're only recruiting male athletes, so I think a lot of times you're like, maybe I'm not confident enough to go in this room, or why would they choose me? But the more I'm in it, I understand I'm able to relate to these players as a person much differently than anybody else because all people are different, right? So it's been a huge learning experience for me to be more confident. It really has.
Believe in yourself.
Yeah, believe in yourself and understand, like, I know I can do this work. I've been doing it for 10 years on all different levels. And just getting the players to accept that and learn about me, and I think they get it.
Yeah.
They really do get it. Yeah.
Any of your like most fun moments so far?
Well, so I always go back. My favorite experiences that I've had were all right after Super Bowl 50 because I was working with Von Miller at the time, who was Super Bowl 50 MVP, and it was the greatest 3-4 months of my life because I got to do everything that he did. So we went to, you know, the Kanye fashion show, and he presented at the Academy of Country Music Awards. We did Dancing with the Stars. I mean, the Today Show, the Tonight Show, everything you can imagine. Getting to go on that journey with him was unbelievable. Every day we were going back and forth somewhere, you know, taking a jet from LA to Denver, back to New York, and whatever it may be. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I was like, is this real life?
Yeah, I hope you're documenting all of this. I mean, I know on your Insta has some great shots. But,
it was unbelievable. You know, and he's such a great guy. Anyways, I could never say enough good things about him, but just him being so warm and accepting during it all, you know, and just kind of embracing it, you know, because, I mean, he knew it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and it was really cool being by his side through that whole process.
Yeah, that's great. What are some of the other perks of the job? I know, like SBs and different things like that.
Yeah, so we actually have SBs coming up in a couple weeks. It's in the middle of July. And then we have the Kids' Choice Award, Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Sports Awards the day after. So getting to see all that kind of behind-the-scenes stuff has definitely been one of my favorite parts of the job. So talk about perks. You know, obviously we get tickets and that sort of thing. But being on the field before a game, getting to see, you know, the ins and outs of all the red carpet for the SBs and things like that, it's been pretty surreal.
Any big moments for you, like either big accomplishments or just really fun, you know, moments where you're like, gosh, man, I love my job. This is amazing.
Well, for me personally, you know, I mentioned helping Von Miller out after he was Super Bowl 50 MVP. This year I got to help out Nick Foles, who was Super Bowl 52 MVP. So having that opportunity twice, it was really unbelievable. And Nick's an amazing person too. But being able to help him, we went to Ellen, and then we went to the Jimmy Kimmel show and everything, and getting to kind of see how quickly his life changed. I mean, it was such a whirlwind, and how he took it and how he grew in that week. It was pretty special to be able to be like, you know what, this is neat that I'm here, but it's even cooler that I'm able to see such growth.
right,
in
from
him.
somebody else. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And I think we have a picture of you. You may have already shown it, Marissa, but I just had to pull it up because of the J-Lo pictures, the shot too. Yeah,
that
I mean,
was-
just because she's amazing.
That was
Let's talk
last
about this.
week. Yeah, we were in Vegas on a work retreat, and I just kind of stumbled into this opportunity. And I'm like, this is one of the biggest moments of my life. She's it, right? Like, she's like the queen.
Yeah, exactly. I had to pull that one.
Yeah.
So
she's
what, did you go to
fantastic.
her show?
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
wish I'd gotten a spray tan before I went to it, but she was amazing. I mean, the show is unbelievable. I'm like, you know what? This lady's late 40s and still just getting it. I mean, she was full out for 2.5 hours, and then it was 1 a.m. by the time I got the opportunity to see her, and she still looks amazing.
Yeah, she always just looks like sober.
It's like 1 a.m. and
Yeah.
she still looks fantastic.
I saw her Instagram too. I don't know if it was the same just recently too, and she's posting like, lifting right
Yeah.
before her workout and stuff. So she's just, I mean, she's just amazing.
She's not real life.
Yeah, she's not. Yeah. Oh, all right. Let's go ahead and do real quick here. I want to do the TomGirl of the week this week. So each week here we do a TomGirl of the week, and this week it is Sammy Zelani. So she is actually the recipient of. Once a year, we give away a TomGirl scholarship. So she just graduated from high school. She's a multi-sport athlete. She's going to go into college, and she's going to play golf in college. So
Awesome.
she will be giving her, there she is. All of her brothers and sisters are college athletes as well. And she just embodied what we look for here at TomGirl. So we're very happy to be sending her out the scholarship check this week. And we can't wait to watch her grow in college and her career grow. She wants to be a nurse or a doctor.
Congratulations.
Yeah. All right. So now let's get back to you. All right. Let's go. I pulled some. Oh yeah. You could. Sorry. This I just pulled because I thought this was the cutest.
Is this the best
cake
thing ever?
Yeah.
Yeah, so my birthday's in October, and then last year, obviously, we have a little work. You usually get a little lunch at work and then a cake, and then my coworkers came out with this, and I'm like, this is the best cake I've ever seen in my life. I actually still have that shoe frozen in the office freezer because I just don't want to get rid of it.
Yeah.
It's just so unbelievable.
Well, now that you told me, because as I was Instagram trolling, I found out that you were pregnant, and you get congratulations. And then I'm like, this is also the cutest. Since you told me now you're having a boy, I'm like, that could have been the cutest. Like
Exactly.
I
It's a
have to save
multi-use.
that.
I can just pull it back out of the freezer and just reuse it for our shower.
Sure. Yeah.
It was perfect. No, it
Yeah.
was so cool that they did that.
Well, and in the shoe, I mean, it literally looks. It's just, I don't know, it's just so cute.
But it's 3D. It's made of Rice Krispie treat. You
Is
can't
it?
tell, but it's like very, very, very close to the actual shoe.
Yeah,
I
like
mean,
I
they
had-
went full out.
I had to look again because I thought I was like, "Wait, is it a shoe on top?" And I'm
Yeah.
like, "No, that's cake."
It's a little bit miniaturized, but it's pretty spot on.
yeah,
Yeah,
so cute.
they nailed it.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about. We also like to talk about travel here. So I pulled a few shots from your Instagram and wanted to get your
Yeah.
thoughts on these places that you went to. So the first one was your trip to Thailand.
It was unbelievable. So that was actually a surprise trip that my now husband, then boyfriend, planned for us. And I'm a planner.
Good work.
Yeah,
He's in here. Good work.
I'm a planner, and so I have everything very meticulously planned, like front to back. And he didn't give me much notice. About a week ahead of time, he's like, you know what? I need you to pack. We're going on a trip. A little bit nervous because he hasn't really planned too much in our relationship thus far. I was a little bit scared, but he pulled it off without a hitch. We had an unbelievable experience. So we went to Bangkok, Chiang Mai, the PP Islands, and Phuket, and it was just unbelievable. And he actually proposed while he was there, which made it even more special. But everything that went into it was just unbelievable. I mean, we got to hang out with the elephants and see all that, and then we got to see the islands. We spent the night on a boat. I would recommend it for anybody because it wouldn't have been probably one of the top destinations that I really wanted to go to, but it was the opportunity of a lifetime. We had a blast.
What were some of your favorite things you did? I know you said elephants and different things like that.
Yeah,
but anything that
spending the night on the boat was really cool because, we're literally just under the stars, and we got to go diving with plankton. They have these plankton that are glow in the dark, so you can't see them at all until night, and, you're moving your arms underwater, and you see it's like you're in slow motion. It was really, really cool, and I probably never would have done that if he hadn't encouraged me to do it, but that was really neat. And we got to see where the movie The Beach with Leo was created, and that was pretty cool. It was so beautiful. It was awesome. So getting to see all that was pretty neat. It was really remote, so it was kind of difficult to get to. It made it pretty special.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Pulled another one. We have Hong Kong.
Yeah. So we weren't even there too long. We were there on our way back from Thailand, and it was fantastic. So we're up at the top of this huge crazy hotel, I guess it was, and we were at this restaurant. It was unbelievable. The view is amazing, and the city's so fast paced. There's so much going on, and it's like a classy city, you know, like kind of like a New York City, but bigger. It was unbelievable seeing everything that they had going on there. The business center was unbelievable.
That's an amazing shot you took,
Isn't that
too.
cool?
Yeah,
I know that was
really
just on my
good.
iPhone camera, too.
Yeah, it looks great.
Just looking out over the city.
And even like the clouds and the, it's got
kind
a
of
very
Gotham.
great. Yeah, it is. I'm like, it's really cool.
Kind of Gotham looking. Yeah, it was great. It was unbelievable. I want to go back there and spend. We were actually just talking about that earlier. We want to go back and spend some more time there for sure.
Yeah.
It's on the list, definitely.
One more. We have a safari shot.
Yes.
Where was this?
We went to South Africa last fall in December. Unbelievable. I would really, again, recommend that to everyone.
I need more details on this one because that one is on my bucket list. So,
yeah.
like, where'd you stay? With the crew? Tell me more details.
Well, so we did a little bit of everything while we were there. You know, just we wanted to capitalize on, while we're there. And it's hard to get there. So it was 10-hour flight to London and then 10-hour flight on to get to Africa. And when you land, you have, a 2-hour other little puddle jumper flight and then 4-hour car ride, but eventually we get there and it was, I can't even explain it. Like we were staying on the safari park, which is out in the middle of nowhere. And every day for 6 hours a day, you're just riding around in a Humvee, just looking at all the animals. But it was really cool for us while we were there because we had a really unique experience because I didn't know anything too much about safari animals. But I guess the black rhinos are really endangered. And while we were out on our safari, we spotted a black rhino that had a cracked horn. And our safari guide was worried that it would get poached. I guess it makes it more susceptible to poaching. So long story short, we spotted it, helped the ground crew and the air crew find this rhino. They, tranquilized it, and we got to help saw the horn off and save his life, essentially, from poaching. And it was pretty cool. So we actually got to get out of the Jeep and pull over the rhino from the shrubs it had landed in whenever it drunkenly fell over. But it was pretty cool to be able to see that. I mean, we were out in the elements, out there.
What other animals did you see?
Oh, we saw, of course, rhinos and giraffes and hippos and tigers. We didn't get to see, we saw tigers in Thailand. We actually didn't see them out in Africa. We didn't get to see any lions, but other than that, we get to see the other big five. So the water buffalo and, of course, all kinds of monkeys, all little monkeys everywhere, which is super cute. A lot of baby animals, like the warthogs. We got to see little baby warthogs, which is the cutest thing ever, like little piglets. Yeah. Exactly what you would think they look like.
Do you feel like you were just in an animation movie?
The whole time. I mean, we're just sitting there waiting to kind of cross the street, and there's this giraffe just walks by. We had to, let it cross first, and... it was cool being there at that time because all the baby animals were out, So that was really, and in this picture, obviously, there's a little baby zebra, which was pretty cool. But I think if I had to choose any, the little baby warthogs were kind of the cutest.
What are some other spots that are on your bucket list?
We really want to go to Greece. That was on the list for this summer, and it hasn't really worked out with the pregnancy and everything. But I want to go to Greece really bad. That's probably next on our list. And we haven't really done too much of Europe either. So Paris and Rome and all that good stuff too. I guess kind of the more cliche places. Also want to go to the Maldives just because I think you have to. That's definitely a bucket list,
amazing,
right?
for sure.
I mean, we got to do it. I like kind of the more tropical places, and my husband's more of an adventurous. So we kind of like to do a little bit of both whenever we're on our adventures. So it makes it work out. Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, let's go back to a little more about your career and things. What are some of your goals maybe in the next 5 years, 10 years, or what do you have set for yourself?
Yeah, I want to keep doing what I'm doing because I genuinely love it, but I hopefully will be able to recruit a little bit more in the next couple of years, my own players. I'd love to have 4 or 5 first-round picks that I represent and do their contract negotiations and all their everything, their endorsement opportunities, everything they may need. Just want to kind of keep building on that foundation, because again, I think I'm in a pretty good place right now, but it can obviously always be a lot better. Just a couple more players of my own. That's kind of the ultimate goal for me.
And what are maybe some things that you would tell, now that you've been in the business for a while now and celebrating your 10 years, like what would you tell your younger self?
Just to be sure to network a lot more. Because I've gotten that recently, and I've started to kind of understand it. But there's a lot of great relationships I had over the years. I just didn't do enough to kind of cultivate and keep those going. I really wish I would have paid a little bit more attention to it at a younger age. And, obviously everything's worked out kind of for me how it should. But I think over the years I would have spent a little bit more time kind of maintaining those relationships.
What are ways that you network now?
We try to be out and about as much as possible. So obviously we're always in LA. So with the SVs, it's a great opportunity because there's 4 or 5 different events going on that week outside of SVs. So we'll have the Players Tribune Party. You know, Adidas and Nike will have events. So making sure to stay in contact with all those contacts has been really helpful. And that's a great opportunity to do it because it's all in one place. Yeah.
Any other, I know we already did a bunch of advice for people, but any other thoughts you have or for people interested?
Just don't limit yourself. You know, I mean, again, growing up, I always wanted to be an NFL agent, but I didn't think I really could deep down. And you truly can do anything. And I think maybe if I hadn't set those limitations in my own mind so young, I would have gotten to this point a lot sooner. And then who knows, you know, the sky's the limit. So I wish I'd been a little bit more confident.
Your family's still back, you said, in your small town in Kentucky.
Yep.
How do they feel about you being out here and working with all these people and what you're doing?
They don't get me at all. They don't know what's going on. They're like, what in the world? What are you doing? Like, no, I'm in Vegas with J-Lo. Don't worry about this.
Right.
You know, like, sorry. No, they're super supportive. They really are. But it's just kind of like night and day, you know, because they're in such a different place, you know, than I am, of course. So I try to kind of take them along and show them everything that's going on, and they really enjoy it. But they've been very, very supportive. I'm lucky to have them.
Yeah. You said they haven't come out that much. We got to get them out more because Laguna you live in Laguna, and that is it's the most beautiful place out here.
Yeah. I mean, obviously they were here last year for the wedding. So we got married in August in Corona del Mar, which was such a beautiful place, and everybody loves it, and it's a great opportunity to come vacation, you know, while you're here visiting us. So please come out, you know, please come visit us.
I want to talk, not to turn things to a serious note, but as we were talking about your small town, your high school is actually one of the high schools that has been in the news recently for school shootings. Can you talk more about that and how that feels for you?
Yeah, well, it really caught me off guard, of course, because I went to Marshall County High School, super small in the middle of Western Kentucky. I think when I went to school there were like 1,500 students, but it's the only school in the whole county. So, you know, kind of talking about how small it is. I mean, it's a really small community, and everybody knows everybody. So I was directly affected by this in a couple of different ways. You know, very small connections, but I knew a couple of the children who'd been shot, and one of the students who'd been shot, actually, her mother worked with my sister. So little connections like that make it really close to home. And it's just terrible that, you know, I feel like children don't feel safe anymore in schools. And somewhere where I knew very closely, very intimately, I never imagined that something like that would happen there. So it's kind of sad, but seeing them grow through it, hopefully things will be put behind them sooner than later. I know you'll never forget it, but hopefully trying to grow from that and, you know, move on to the next thing.
Yeah, well, I'm so sorry that you have to go through that and that your hometown and school, you know, has to go through that. And I hope some changes are made soon in this country so no more
it happens
kids
way
have to
too often.
Way too often, yeah. It's very sad. All right, well, let's not end on let's another note. But anyway, it's been so just amazing listening to you and talking to you. Let me see if there was any last questions before I let you go, because I had so many I wanted to. I think we hit on most of them. I guess I would maybe see over the 10 years, like, how have you seen the role and presence of women like change over those 10 years? Like, have you seen more, or what has been different for you?
I mean, definitely a lot more. You know, while we mentioned that there aren't too many women NFL agents now, there are more than there ever been, which is great. And there's also women referees, women coaches. So I think women are really starting to make their presence felt a lot, particularly in the NFL, and it's great. I mean, it's fantastic. There's no reason why we shouldn't. So there's a great representation. I think it's going to only continue to grow. Are
there some organizations that you're involved with or that you know about that support this more, or that are good networking organizations that people could look into?
Yeah, one of the biggest ones is called WISE, the Women in Sports and Entertainment, and they have chapters, I think, pretty much everywhere in the country. I initially found out about it in Denver, but there's a chapter in LA as well. So that's a really great opportunity for women to be able to network, learn about job opportunities. You know, I get emails all the time about potential job openings or internships and that sort of thing. So it'd be a great way for, you know, especially young women who are interested in being in sports to kind of learn what's going on.
And you said that was WISE.
Yeah, Women in Sports and Entertainment.
Great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much for coming in and sharing your time and sharing your story. It was so
Thanks
nice
for
of
having
you.
me.
Yeah. Tell everybody again where they can follow you on social media.
It's So Savvy, SOSAVY.
All right. Well, that wraps us up for this week. We'll see you again here next week. Thank you so much for watching. You can follow the show at TomGirl TV. You can follow all the other fun shows at AfterBuzz TV. And we'll see you next week. Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.